For most kids, love is innocent, sweet, silly. But for Bart Simpson, love is a battlefield filled with chaos, betrayal, and heartbreak that rivals any adult drama. You might think a 10-year-old couldn't possibly rack up that many failed relationships. But Bart has been crushed, rejected, manipulated, and even accidentally engaged. And every time, he comes back for more. This isn't just a list of childhood crushes. This is a wild ride through every disaster of a relationship Bart's ever had, and the emotional bruises that followed. And the worst part? He never learns. It all started at church. Bart was acting out, being his usual rebellious self until something or someone made him stop dead in his tracks. Her name was Jessica Lovejoy, the minister's daughter. Halo, smile, and absolutely zero morals. Jessica wasn't just pretty, she was dangerous, and Bart fell hard. In a desperate attempt to impress her, he even begged to go back to Sunday school, the same class he'd literally been banned from. They let him back in and he tried to behave just to win her over. He even said it himself, must fight Satan, make it up to him later. That didn't last. He pulled a prank, got 3 months detention, and finally caught Jessica's eye. They had dinner at her place. Bart tried to be on his best behavior, but it didn't matter. Jessica's father kicked him out, swearing he'd never see her again. But that didn't stop Jessica. In fact, she liked Bart's bad boy energy. The next day at school, she denied even knowing him, just to keep their relationship a secret. Because as she put it, if it's secret, it's even more exciting. Manipulative much? Still, Bart hung on. He hoped she'd eventually treat him right. Lisa warned him, "You can't change people." But Bart didn't listen. He never does. Things hit a breaking point when Jessica stole the church donation money, and Bart got blamed. He didn't snitch, not even when everyone turned against him. Because in his mind, he was in love. Eventually, Lisa exposed the truth. Jessica was caught, and Bart still tried to defend her. But the final straw came when she made him scrub church steps as punishment, and didn't even say thank you. That's when Bart learned his first lesson in love. Sometimes the prettiest angels have the sharpest horns. Fast forward to the future. Literally, Bart gets a rare glimpse into what's ahead, and it turns out he actually has a girlfriend. Her name? Jenda. And at first, things seem almost normal. They're going to prom. They're making out under the stars. But when Bart drops the L word and then pulls out a ring, Jenda hits the brakes. Hard. Marriage. That's a 3-year commitment. And Bart? He doesn't even know what he wants to do with his life. Besides, his big plan sounds like a punchline. You waitress, I cut meat. We live in a trailer. Yeah, real romantic, Bart. Jenda tells him she's outgrown him. Right then and there. Cue the heartbreak. But instead of sulking, Bart does something wild. He gives up a scholarship, a literal Ivy League scholarship, so his sister Lisa can have it instead. Why? Because he thought Jenda would be proud of his sacrifice. Spoiler alert, she wasn't. When Jenda finds out what Bart gave up, she still dumps him. No praise, no gratitude, just another gut punch from love. Bart runs back to Lisa, hoping for comfort, only to realize that Jenda was never the one. She was just another chapter in his story, one that ends with him whispering, "Guess you won't be in my future after all." Shauna Chalmers wasn't just trouble, she was advanced level trouble. Older, moody, and dating Jimbo Jones, one of Springfield's most feared bullies. So, of course, Bart fell for her. It all started at the movies, where Shauna wanted to ditch Jimbo's film pick. Jimbo, being the ever-caring boyfriend, handed her off to Bart because, in his words, "You're a perv magnet. I need someone unthreatening to watch you." Unthreatening? Bart Simpson? Please. Shauna and Bart end up at the mall food court, where she shamelessly flirts with a guy wearing a skull t-shirt. Bart steps in to defend her, and just like that, she flips the switch. You know, for a second grader, you're pretty sharp. Hold up. Second grader? Shauna was flirting with a literal child. But instead of calling the FBI, she kissed him. And that was only the beginning. The two start dating in the loosest sense of the word. Bart takes the fall when Shauna gets caught stealing perfume. She rewards him with a gift, one that leaves Bart stunned into silence. Let's just say it reminded him of his dad, and not in a good way. From that point on, Bart can't focus. Everything reminds him of that moment, and nobody around him seems to care that he's only 10 years old. Their romance spirals into full chaos. Shauna manipulates him, Jimbo wants to kill him, and Bart keeps digging himself deeper. At one point, they hide out together in his treehouse like a makeshift love bunker. Lisa finds them and drops the realest line in the whole episode. Shauna shouldn't choose any of you. Shauna should choose Shauna. And that's when it hits Bart. Sometimes the most dangerous thing in a relationship is not knowing who you are. Mary Spuckler wasn't just another crush. She was the girl who got close, like accidentally got engaged close. It all started with a cow. Yes, really. Bart joined 4-H to raise livestock for the summer and bonded with a scrawny little calf he named Lou. Mary helped him take care of it, and for once, Bart showed actual responsibility. He loved that cow and maybe, just maybe, started to love Mary too. But when Lou won the contest, Bart learned the awful truth. The prize-winning cows were sent to the slaughterhouse. Devastated, he vowed to save Lou, whatever it took. Problem was, giving a cow to Mary's family was considered a marriage proposal, and just like that, Bart found himself engaged. Lisa convinced him to go along with it temporarily, just long enough to save Lou. But when the wedding day came, Bart wasn't backing down. "I have to do this, Mom. I love that big old cow." Thankfully, Marge stopped the ceremony just in time. And Lou? He was secretly swapped out for Homer in a cow costume and shipped to safety in India. The crisis was over, but the feelings weren't. Years later, Bart tries to reconnect with Mary. She's moved to New York and reinvented herself. Still, when they reunite, sparks fly, briefly. They share a romantic kiss, and she even tells him, "If a girl tries to fix you, let her. You've got a couple of big problems." Ouch! Mary's dad tries to drag her home, but Bart refuses to sell her out. "She's the one who proved that girls can like me. If I betray her now, she never will again." But just when it feels like things might finally work out, they don't. In a future episode, Bart and Mary are back together. Kind of. But Bart ignores her, gets too comfortable, and tanks the relationship all over again. Mary gives him chance after chance. She writes him a song, she forgives his distractions. But in the end, she says the one line Bart never wanted to hear, "Let's take a break." And this time, it actually sticks. Most kids get grounded. Bart, he got sentenced. After pulling one prank too many, Bart ends up in juvenile detention. It's cold, rough, and full of bullies. But that's where he meets Gina, a sharp-tongued, no-nonsense girl who makes the other inmates look like toddlers. Their first interaction? She threatens to ruin his entire puberty if he crosses her. A young love. Despite her tough shell, Gina starts to warm up to Bart. The two get paired for a juvie prom. Yes, that's a thing. And Bart, against all odds, actually makes an impression. But prom night takes a turn. Gina hatches an escape plan, and Bart's the unwilling co-pilot. Suddenly, they're on the run like a junior Bonnie and Clyde, if Clyde kept needing to pee every 5 minutes. In the moonlight, Gina admits something vulnerable. She's not just escaping juvie. She's escaping loneliness, because unlike Bart, she doesn't have a family to go back to. For the first time, Bart sees someone as lost as he is, someone who's just pretending to be tough to survive. But their freedom is short-lived. The cops catch them, and Gina shocks everyone, even Bart, by taking full responsibility. She gets locked up again, while he walks free. Before he leaves, Bart does something he's never done for any of the others. He comes back. With food, a simple gesture, a family dinner, a reminder that someone still cares, and for Gina that meant everything. It wasn't a grand romance, it wasn't fiery or dramatic, but it was real. And in Bart's messy love life, that's rarer than you think. Leave it to The Simpsons to mix romance, vaping, and international cousins in one episode. Because that's exactly what happened when Bart met Anuka von Houten, Milhouse's cousin from the Netherlands. It all started at a birthday party. While Homer was busy sabotaging neighborhood celebrations, Bart was meeting his next disaster. Anuka was mysterious, European, and way too chill for someone hanging out with a 10-year-old. She pulled out an e-cig, offered him a hit, and just like that, Bart was in love, or something like it. Peer pressure kicked in fast. Anuka didn't just want someone to talk to. She wanted a partner in crime and vaping. And Bart, he went along with everything. He bought her snacks, tagged along like a lost puppy, and even started experimenting with vape flavors like bubblegum and watermelon dream. Romantic, right? Marge naturally freaked out. Homer didn't help. When told Bart was vaping, his only question was whether he preferred bubblegum or strawberry. Classic parenting. But before the chaos could cool down, Anuka dropped a bomb. She was leaving Springfield. Bart, being Bart, tried the only move he knows, an impulsive grand gesture. He ran after her, poured his heart out, told her he couldn't live with himself if he didn't at least try to say how he felt. Anuka? She wasn't impressed. "You're only pleasant when you want something," she snapped. Then stormed off muttering something in Dutch. Probably not a love poem. Milhouse tried to cheer him up. "If you're into the blue hair and big nose, I've got plenty more cousins." Thanks, Milhouse. That's comforting. In the end, Bart didn't just lose Anuka. He got ghosted, vaped out, and humiliated all in one breath. Some romances leave a scar. This one left a sore throat and a deep regret. Before the chaos of jailbreaks and secret vapes, there was Laura Powers, Bart's next-door neighbor and his first real heartbreak. She was everything Bart wasn't. Older, confident, cool. She stood up to bullies, cracked jokes, and had a voice that made Bart stammer like a fool. From the moment she moved in, Bart was hooked. He went out of his way to impress her, talking fancy, dressing up, acting mature. When Homer and Marge left Laura to babysit, Bart saw it as destiny. But reality doesn't care about 10-year-old dreams. Laura called Bart to the treehouse one night. He thought she was going to confess her feelings. Instead, she dropped a bomb. "I have a boyfriend. His name? Jimbo Jones." Yes, that Jimbo, the bully who gives Bart swirlies for fun. It was the ultimate betrayal, and it got worse. Laura invited Jimbo over while babysitting Bart. Bart, heartbroken and angry, pulled a prank by calling Moe's Tavern, pretending to be Jimbo. Moe showed up with a knife. Jimbo cried like a baby, and suddenly, Bart looked like the hero. Laura dumped Jimbo and told Bart, "If you were only a little older, I'd go out with you in a second." Oof, that line right there, it planted a seed that would mess with Bart's idea of love forever. He wasn't rejected for who he was. He was rejected because of when he was, and that's a different kind of heartbreak, one that doesn't fade with time. There are love triangles, there are love disasters, and then there's whatever happened between Bart Simpson and the purple-haired twins, Sherri and Terri. It started with a mix-up so awkward it could only happen to Bart. He thought he was making out with one twin, turns out it was the other. Classic Bart move? The worst part? Even he couldn't tell which one he kissed, and they didn't bother correcting him. What followed was a mess of awkward interactions, petty revenge, and emotional confusion. Bart tried to play it cool, but let's face it, you can't win when you don't even know who you're dating. At one point, he tried to fix things by being more mature. But when you're 10 years old and stuck between identical twins who keep switching roles, that plan goes out the window fast. The whole experience left Bart more paranoid than in love. Every smile, every giggle, was it Sherri? Was it Terri? Or were they both just messing with him? Spoiler, they were absolutely messing with him. For Bart, it wasn't just about getting dumped. It was about being played by girls who were way better at mind games than he ever imagined. And just like that, another lesson carved itself into Bart's brain. Never date twins, especially if you can't tell them apart. Amid all the chaos, heartbreaks, and emotional landmines, there's one girl who always shows up for Bart, his sister, Lisa Simpson. No, not in a romantic way. But when it comes to love, Lisa is the only constant in Bart's life. She's the one who pulls him out of his worst messes, literally and emotionally. When Jessica Lovejoy turned him into a scapegoat, Lisa found the truth. When Shauna had him cornered in a treehouse, Lisa talked sense into everyone. And when Bart was dumped, humiliated, and spiraling, Lisa was the one who reminded him of his worth, even if he didn't believe it himself. Time after time, Bart goes to Lisa for advice, though he rarely follows it. And time after time, Lisa offers him something no one else does: unconditional loyalty. She tells him when he's being stupid. She comforts him when he's been rejected. And in some moments, she's the only person who still sees the good in him, when even Bart doesn't. Their bond isn't perfect. They bicker, prank each other, and fight like siblings do. But at the end of the day, Lisa never walks away. She's not a phase, she's not a crush, she's family. And in Bart's whirlwind of failed romances, that means more than any kiss ever could. So, what have we learned from Bart Simpson's long, messy, and downright tragic love life? Well, for starters, he's had more breakups before age 12 than most people have in a lifetime. He's been used, rejected, friend-zoned, engaged by accident, and dumped by girls who didn't even like him in the first place. From Sunday school scandals to vape-fueled heartbreaks, Bart's love stories are a masterclass in what not to do. But the real kicker? He never learns. No matter how badly it ends, Bart always goes back in, heart first, brain nowhere in sight. And maybe that's kind of the point. Because Bart isn't just chasing love, and he's chasing hope that maybe the next girl will be different, that this time things won't blow up in his face, that someone will finally love him the way he's always wanted to be loved. It's naive, it's tragic, and it's painfully relatable. But here's the twist. The one person who's always there for him, the one who truly gets him, Lisa. She's the only one who never walks away because she understands something Bart keeps forgetting. You can't fix people, you can't force love. And sometimes the best relationships aren't romantic at all. So here's to Bart Simpson, Springfield's most broken-hearted 10-year-old. May he keep chasing love, even if it keeps running the other way. Because deep down, maybe we're all a little like Bart. Hopeful, messy, and always believing that the next one might just be the one.